Hey, ELA team, you guessed it, Nate is out today, and so I get to sit in his office, which is always interesting, maybe. Luckily, it's been quiet. Hey, I want to thank you for your time on Friday, and I really appreciate having the conversation with Study Sync and being real, honest, and genuine about where things are at, and then being open to where we need to go. One of the things that you missed was just the curriculum updates, which actually does is a big piece of what we are needing to talk about. So, for English language arts. As you probably know, there is a huge rise in book bans and all kinds of things across the country, which are somewhat crazy when you think that our little cell phone can probably get us in a lot more trouble than a book in the media center. But regardless, we need to be prepared. So I did share this with staff, and so this is just a little bit about where media centers are at and that type of thing. We know that Alexandria is the one closest to us. It's had a lot of things to say about book bans and about texts that students are reading. Why are they concerned? Well, first off, I want to just talk about our kids access books that we're concerned about through the Media Center and classroom libraries. And classroom libraries is where you guys come in. I am working with Megan on the Media Center about what we need to do and how we support things, but where we need to go. Things that kids are getting from public libraries, sharing with friends, buying at Target, may not be appropriate, but those are not ours. So we are concerned about what we give kids. And so if you have a classroom library, which I anticipate or believe many of you do, it's about those types of things. Certainly, there may be things in our curriculum online, but we're going to talk through before we would teach those high level books. We're going to need to talk through what those are. So why is it a big deal? When I look at the concerns that I'm reading on some of these books, sorry, I'm moving myself around. There's a lot about about gender pieces, about drinking, about nudity, sexual ideologies, self-harm, those kinds of things. And so certainly kids aren't just getting it from books, but that is a major concern when we're seeing things from the book bans. There is an advocacy group called Moms for Liberty, and Moms for Liberty is a group that kind of sponsors some of this and where people get a lot of really information on where books are at and what books are good and not good. There's a place called booklooks.org, and I'll share that with you. And they have all kinds of texts. I'm going to share it with you right now. Booklooks.org. It talks about why our books struggle, what's wrong, and they actually give a list. And so if I click on A, I can find out what books here, what is the advisory. And if I go to a book that has a 4, a rating system of 4, I can click on it and I can see why is it a big deal. And you can see the summary of the book, the summary of the concerns. 4 they've coined as not for minors. And then they would say these are on page 1, this is the language that's being used. So it's totally taken out of context, but at the same time has some language in there that may be concerning if they got in the wrong hands. So we as Minnewaska have to make some decisions here about what do we think is most important for our students to have and who accesses these texts. So right now, we are creating some time to create policy and procedures for if we have a level 4 book, who can access it, how do they access it, where are parents involved and where are they not. So I need you to identify if you have a classroom library, what books are at 4s and 5s. Now, this is not the only, there are lots of resources. This is one that we are using, and we just want to identify what there is. That does not mean we're going to pull them for now. But that doesn't mean that they're not coming back. We need to create a policy procedure about this is where we're headed, and this is who can access them and when they can access them. That's the only piece that we're at. That is getting misconstrued, or maybe is misconstrued by colleagues, so I want you to help us with that. We are not following what Moms for Liberty has. We're creating a bigger policy, and we need to do that. And we want to do this before somebody comes down our throat and says, hey, you have this book, and it becomes a very big public piece. We would rather have our ducks in a row first. So that's why we're doing it where we're at. I did ask the team that if they could, by November 17th, by the end of the day, November 17th, so a week from Friday, go through their books and see what they have. If you're like me, you wanted cheap books when you were first starting out and you bought either at sales or at a garage sale or something, you bought like baskets of books and you had unloaded boxes, put your name on them and threw them on a shelf, and you may not know what's all in those packs. So I'm asking you to do that. Only 4s and 5s. Pull for now. And we will work on how we access them later. Okay, that should be coming up shortly. The other piece that you missed on updates is the tech committee. We'd love to have someone part of our tech committee or a group part of our tech committee. This team will help us identify what standards are and what we think needs to be taught at each level. And then also will be helping us as we hopefully go through the vote tomorrow and know where we're headed. They will help us kind of make a plan going forward. Okay, if you're interested, sign up by this Friday. I will reach out by the following Friday, and then we're going to have our first meeting before December. All right, thanks, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call.